Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Elan's Matchup Maximizer, a podcast presented by Keeping Karlsson, where I, Elan Dubrovsky, look at the NHL schedule for next week to try to suggest which teams have good schedules and which players on those teams you should consider adding in order to be successful in your head-to-head matchups. We are bearing down on the fantasy playoffs in a lot of leagues, so every week is critical. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some good advice going into this week of February 20th to February 26th. So let's just dive right into it here. We've got interesting schedule next week. No super busy days, which is always nice. The busiest day is Saturday with 22 teams playing, so it might even be possible that you are able to fit someone in on Saturday. But yeah, Saturday is the busiest. Thursday, you've got 20 teams playing. Tuesday, you have 18 teams playing. So 3 days that are the typical super busy days, but they may still have available spots on your roster. So definitely when you're listening to this, you're going to have to check and see. I'm going to tell you 2 teams that have 4 off-day games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And so I'll be like, these are the teams with the best schedules, but there may be some other of the 4 games played teams that will have players that will fit into your roster on all the days they play, including like Saturday, like I said, or Thursday. So you'll have to check for yourself to see if one of those teams are actually just as good for you as one of the 2 teams playing on the 4 off-day games. But let's look at those 2 teams first. We got to start in Winnipeg, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Unfortunately, Winnipeg is not a team that I really have anyone to recommend. I'm sorry. Look, they got Ehlers, Dubois, Connor on one line, and they've got Wheeler, Scheifele, Perfetti on another line, and then they've got Wheeler, Scheifele, Dubois, Connor on the top power play with Josh Morrissey. All those guys that I mentioned, except for one, are rostered in pretty much all leagues. Cole Perfetti only rostered in 13% of leagues, so I guess, yeah, based on just the deployment, Cole Perfetti is the guy that you want playing with Scheifele and Wheeler. The thing is, Perfetti is just so cold. It's just really hard to, give him a huge stamp of approval here. He also is at risk of getting, like in his last game against Columbus. I'm recording this Saturday night, by the way. So he is going to be playing on Sunday. But yeah, Perfetti in his last game, no points and no shots, which is always disappointing. So I'm looking at it here, 6 games in a row without a point for Perfetti. Maybe you could say he's due. I don't know. I like the triple eligibility. So if you want to take a Winnipeg guy, you're going to get 4 games out of Perfetti. I'm just not going to guarantee that you're going to get any points there. The other team that play 4 off-day games is the New York Islanders, who just today potentially suffered an injury to Matt Barzal. Well, he definitely is injured. The potential is for how long. So for next week, if there's no Barzal, that makes the team, we don't know what the lines are going to be. Like, it's really hard to foresee what exactly is going to happen. I guess one player that benefits here is probably Kyle Palmieri, who now gets his spot back on the top power play. He was bumped when Bo Horvat came in. But yeah, in this most recent game versus the Bruins, where the Bruins destroyed the Islanders and injured Matt Barzal, Palmieri was back up there playing with Horvat, Nelson, Lee on PP1, and Noah Dobson, of course. And hey, Palmieri even scored himself a goal and had 5 shots. So this is a guy that is not rostered in too many leagues. So I think that I would definitely take Kyle Palmieri at this point over Cole Perfetti for next week. Only 8% of leagues where Palmieri is rostered. So yeah, I would definitely check him out. If he's not available, I mean, you look at the line, like there was a lot of line shuffling, obviously, after the Barzal injury. So you'll have to see how things shake out. But I guess, like, if, Zach Parise was playing with Nelson for a bit, and we know that Brock Nelson likes to run hot. So maybe like a Zach Parise could be something, but honestly, you may be able to do better just getting 3 games from someone. So I think Kyle Palmieri is the clear person there. You could always go for a Ryan Pulak, who actually has been getting a point every couple games lately, which is nice compared to what he was doing at the start of the year. So I guess he would be my second choice there of players that may be available to you on the Islanders. But okay, so those are the only 2 teams that play like officially 4 off-day games, like guaranteed you're going to get those games onto your roster. But like I said, we have some other teams that play 4 times and you may be able to fit them in. So I guess let's just go through all the 4 games played teams and we can just like give a streamer for each here. Like we go to Anaheim. They play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I mentioned last week how Anaheim had that bad schedule this week, only playing twice. But I was saying, like, maybe there's some Anaheim players who you want to hold on to because they'll have a good schedule. But if some people who weren't listening or who did listen, but just, they had to focus on winning this current week, they may have dropped their Anaheim guys, and that may be to your benefit, like an Adam Henrique, who had been pretty hot. I guess lately, though, he's kind of cooled down. So this would have been a smart... Anyone who dropped Henrique going into this 2-game week didn't regret it because he did nothing for them. But now I think I would take a look at Adam Henrique as someone to stream in if you'll be able to get... Like, he plays Monday, Tuesday to start, right? So even if you can't fit him in Thursday, Saturday, that's not too bad to get a Monday, Tuesday guy. And then you swap him out for someone else. Those games are against Florida and Tampa Bay, which are strong teams. But Florida did just let in 7 goals against Nashville. So maybe they're not actually the scariest team to go up against. Henrique in the most recent game was playing with Max Jones and Mason McTavish, which is actually not very exciting. He was on the top power play with Zegras and Strome and McTavish. But I guess, when Troy Terry is hurt, that makes this team a lot shallower. So, check and see. I think Troy Terry might be back soon, in which case if we get back to, Terry, Zegras, Henrique, that's really good for Adam Henrique. So check it out. But of the potential streamers on this team, Henrique's the guy that I would choose. I guess you could also go with a Mason McTavish. I guess someone on that top power play would be the next choice. Of course, Cam Fowler. He ran hot, and then I added him in a couple leagues. Then as soon as I added him, he did nothing. I dropped him, and then this week for these 2 games, 2 goals versus Buffalo, 2 assists versus LA. Oh my gosh, Cam Fowler, you're the worst. So he's probably in free agency for a lot of people. I mean, what am I supposed to say? I'm going to recommend Cam Fowler. If you need D, maybe if it's just for Monday, Tuesday, no. But if you've got room on Thursday and Saturday also for a D, you can get 4 games and then even drop him, get a 5th game from someone else on Sunday. He's on the top power play. Once again, he's hot. This is definitely not a guarantee, but as a streamer... I don't know. Top power play. He has points the last couple of games, so maybe he could do it again. Multi-points in his last couple of games. So I hate it, but I guess I'll do it. Also, Frank Vetrano could be a good streamer. He's pretty hot right now. He had a goal and an assist in the loss to LA. Took 6 shots. He's had some big shot games recently. Also some very low shot games, which is frustrating probably for anyone who streamed him in after seeing all those big shots a couple weeks ago. So you have a lot of options there in Anaheim. And like I said, you get those 3 games Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So even if you can't fit Saturday, get those 3 games, right? So then you've got the Buffalo Sabres Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So you get, I guess, 2-3 light day games, depending on if you're going to consider Tuesday light day with the 18 games. Buffalo is a team that's always kind of tricky to stream from. Unfortunately, it's a team where all the players in good deployment situations generally are rostered highly. Like Thompson, Tuck, Skinner, you're not going to get them. Dylan Cousins, you're probably not going to get. Victor Olofsson actually only rostered in 16% of leagues. So he's someone who's interesting. I guess he's gone quiet a little bit lately, but overall, Olofsson's been getting some power play time on the second power play. There's been even a couple games I think I saw where he was getting top power play. Then Olofsson playing with Cousins and Peterka at even strength, at least in this game today versus the Sharks. So I guess Olofsson would be my pick. If you're not getting someone on the top line or on the top power play, I guess, you're looking at Victor Olofsson. And then again, if you need D, I don't know. Owen Power, should I? He scored a goal today. So that's why he's kind of on my radar. 3 shots. He also had 4 shots versus Anaheim in the previous game. I guess that'd be a deep cut. I'll still take Cam Fowler over Owen Power. But I guess Olofsson is your guy if you want to take a Buffalo player. Okay, Calgary. Now we're talking in terms of a team where you could stream someone good. So they play Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, plus Mondays against Philly. Probably Carter Hart will play, but maybe not because Hart played on Saturday. Wednesday against Arizona. Arizona just got blown up. Unfortunately, Karel Vejmelka, I say unfortunately because it happened in a couple of leagues. He got blown up and then got pulled today versus LA. But anyway, these are teams that potentially Calgary can go to town on. And then Vegas Thursday and then Colorado Saturday. So again, 3 games in the first 4 days, always good. And with Calgary, the obvious player who I actually was just able to grab in one league, and I'm surprised he was still available at this point, Mikhail Backlund, just go get him. If he's available, I think you have to. He just scored a goal and an assist versus the Rangers today in the overtime win. 5 shots. Also had 5 shots in the last game. He actually hasn't had a game with fewer than 3 shots in his last 5 games. Just trust me. Backlund's shooting a lot. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's playing on this line with Mangiapane and Coleman, and it's going very, very well. And Backlund's only rostered in 21% of leagues. So if you're in one of those leagues where he's available, especially just to get these 3 games in 4 days to start the week, you got to get Mikhail Backlund. But if you can't get him, A lot of other options, less than 50%. Like Mangiapane's only rostered in 32% of leagues. I take Backlund over him, but he's someone you could stream in for sure. Dubé playing with Toffoli has been really hot lately. No points today, but he was on a nice goal streak before then. Blake Coleman on the Backlund line. He's gone a bit cold, but I wouldn't be surprised if he could pick up a point or two in these 4 games next week. So those would be the clear guys. You could even go for Jacob Pelletier, who finally got an assist today. I think it's his first assist of the season, but he is playing with Jonathan Huberdeau, who is a bit hotter lately. He's not amazing, but he does have 5 assists in his last 4 games. I guess Nazem Kadri scored the goal today, and Pelletier had one of those assists also. So he's someone in a deeper league, but only if you can't get one of those other guys that I already mentioned. Okay, so that's Calgary. Who else plays 4 games this week? We got the LA Kings Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Sunday. So that's pretty good because Saturday is the one day that's most likely for you not to have an open spot. So theoretically, you can get all 4 games. Obviously, check your rosters. All road games for the Kings, but the Kings are scoring a lot of goals lately. I'm recording this pretty late on Saturday, and it looks like the Kings were up by a lot, and then Arizona almost came back, but then LA has won in overtime on an overtime goal in the shootout. Okay, so no overtime goal to report. But yeah, a lot of goals for the Kings here, 5 goals. Obviously, the big games went to Fiala and Kopitar, but one guy who got in on some of these Fiala points is Blake Lizotte. He had a goal and an assist. Lizotte also had a big game in his last outing. I guess, yeah, you're playing with Kevin Fiala and Alex Iafallo. It's not a bad line. And Lizotte is becoming someone who we have to talk about, right? It's 2 straight 1 goal, 1 assist games. He also had an assist in the game before that. So he's hot. He's on a good line. Not a guarantee, but the one good thing about Blake Lizotte is he's available. He is someone you're going to be able to get. Only rostered in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Maybe that'll go up next week at least. I don't think you have to rush on Monday to get him, but maybe Tuesday, if he's still out there, then you could get those 4 games for the rest of the week. After you got a game from someone else on the Monday, you would, you could do a lot worse at this point because that line is looking pretty good. Then there's also Iafallo, who's also playing with Fiala, and Iafallo had only a single assist today, but still, that's pretty good for a streamer, and 2 assists in the game before that. So obviously, anyone who's feeding Fiala right now, you want to get in on that. There's a lot of players that, Victor Arvidsson's only rostered 25% of leagues, and he's on a nice little hot streak. He had 2 goals versus Anaheim, a goal versus Buffalo, and 2 assists. No points in this game versus Arizona, but he did take 3 shots and had 4 blocks. Kind of made up for a lack of points by helping with a category that normally defensemen are good for. Also, Sean Dursey was super cold for a while, but now he has assists in a couple straight games. Some decent shot numbers, only rostered in 32% of leagues. So I know I'm just throwing a lot of names at you, but that's the point of this show. I'm telling you the teams that have good schedules and just a bunch of names. You can take a look and see who you like there. Gabe Vilardi is someone who I was actually surprised. He got a lot of shine on the recent short shifts with Lewis and Shams. Not to call those guys out. I think they're really smart fantasy players, doing better than me in a couple leagues. But there was a conversation of Vilardi versus Matt Boldy. Give me Matt Boldy every day of the week, for sure. Not even a discussion. I don't even think I like Vilardi more than Blake Lizotte for next week, to be honest. So that's just my opinion. Trevor Moore is someone who's back from his injury, though I'm surprised. He had 1 assist in the game versus Anaheim, no points and no shots, even though LA had 5 goals today. So maybe Trevor Moore, but I don't know. He's still kind of good. He's on that good line, so he could just be due. So he's someone that you won't have to rush for. But if all the other good streamers are taken, I think you'll have Trevor Moore potentially out there for you, and he's someone to look at as well. Quinton Byfield, by the way, I guess got to mention him. He had an assist. Okay, let me rank these guys for you. Okay, I'm gonna. Depends on your categories, right? Maybe Byfield should just be first because he's playing with Kopitar and he's only rostered in 3%. You're probably gonna be able to get him. Arvidsson. I take Arvidsson over Byfield if you can get him. I take Dursey also. Okay, so I'll go Arvidsson, Dursey, Byfield, Lizotte, Iafallo. Okay, Trevor Moore. There's my LA ranking. I hope that's useful to you. Okay, so there's still a few more teams that play 4 times that I'll get to, but I'll just take a quick break here. You're listening to the Matchup Maximizer. All right, I am back and I'm going through the teams with the best schedules next week. We have a lot of them, and like I said, it's one of these weeks where you don't have to really worry too much about off days, except maybe the Saturday, which is what makes LA pretty good, and that's also what makes this next team pretty good, Minnesota, who also goes Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and you get games against LA, Columbus, Toronto, and Columbus again. So, you know what, though? Korpisalo has been really good. I almost wonder if at this point, maybe just games against Columbus aren't that valuable. But yeah, Minnesota, like I said, I like Matt Boldy. He's probably not available for you, though. Ryan Hartman was getting top line, but then we saw that maybe Boldy could be stealing that. But so I'm not sure. Do we recommend Ryan Hartman here? He's super cold. If he's on the top line, like look at the game day lines before the next game, and then add Ryan Hartman. If he is obviously centering Kaprizov and Zuccarello, there's always an opportunity to get points there, but I could see that kind of shifting. Aside from that, as far as low percent rostered players who you might be interested in, should I mention like Jonas Brodin? He's on a bit of a run here. He's getting great peripherals, like a lot of blocks, decent shots. He has a couple assists in his last 4 games. I'm noticing him because Mark in couple tier 1 has him on his roster, and Mark has the best team, and he's number 1 ranked right now. So I feel like anything Mark is doing is probably a good idea. So maybe if you need D, you look at Jonas Brodin right now. Kalen Addison's been scratched in a couple games. Hopefully you don't still. He's rostered in 10% of leagues. I feel like, unless it's like a deep keeper league where you're thinking long term, I don't see a reason to hold him. So yeah, I don't really have anyone else to recommend here, unfortunately. Like we could say the typical like Freddie Gaudreau's or Jordan Greenway's, like maybe they'll get a point or two, but these aren't guys that I'm very excited about. So that's Minnesota. Well, who did I end up recommending? I guess Hartman, if he's available, which he's probably not. Or at least he won't be if he's on the top line. Okay. Then we've got the New York Rangers who go Monday and then Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So maybe this is the kind of thing, I guess you could grab the Monday game that'll be against Winnipeg and Hellebuck. So maybe you just wait and grab your Rangers player on Thursday, and maybe you could get a couple games earlier in the week and then drop that person and take the Rangers player to get Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And on New York, they've been really spreading out that offense. They've been kind of like doing line blending, unfortunately, so it's hard to know exactly who's going to be with who. Like Tarasenko spent some time with Trocheck and Panarin, then also some time with Kreider and Zibanejad. So I don't know. Anyways, all these guys that I just mentioned, though, aren't going to be available to you. But the one line that is always sticking together lately is Hedel, Kakko, and Lafreniere. These guys are continuing to do pretty well. Lafreniere only rostered in 29% of leagues. He just scored a goal in this game versus Calgary, and that was his second goal in the same number of games. Then he was quiet in the game before that, but then he had an assist in each of the games before that. And trust me, Lafreniere is on a hot streak. This line is doing really well. He's someone that I would definitely take a look at. Hedel, if he's still out there for you, Hedel is now rostered in 40% of leagues, so it's getting outside of the mandate of this show. But yeah, if you could get Hedel, I would go for him. And then Kakko. Yeah, he's like, all these three are hot, right? So if they're available to you on a week with a good schedule, especially come next Thursday, take one of those Rangers that are on this, I guess, quote unquote, third line. Then we've got Philly, another Monday, Tuesday team, just like Anaheim. So you can get Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday, Saturday. I always like 3 games before Saturday is good if you can fit them in, because then you could swap them for someone on the weekend. So Philly fits that bill here. Obviously, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday could be better, but if Thursday's full for you, then maybe you're more appreciating Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Some low percent rostered guys I'm interested in on Philly. I got to start with Rasmus Ristolainen. If you need D at this point, he is doing really well, especially if you're in a multi-category league. He just had an assist today against Vancouver. He also had 2 assists a couple games ago against Seattle, and a lot of hits. So if you need your perfs, Ristolainen is looking really good. Owen Tippett continues to do pretty well. He had 4 shots today against Vancouver, no points. He did have a 1-goal, 1-assist game earlier in the week against Seattle. I guess aside from that, Tippett has actually been pretty quiet, but I'm still into him. He's playing with Hayes and Lawton on, I guess you'd call that the top line, though maybe you'd want to call the Konechny line the top line, which is with JVR and Morgan Frost. And actually, JVR and Morgan Frost are 2 guys that you can get, but somehow, I know that Konechny was cold for a bit, but he scored a couple goals versus Seattle and then had an assist today against Vancouver and also 7 shots. So Konechny is heating up. He's obviously not available to you as a streamer, but you could definitely get JVR and Morgan Frost if you want. JVR only 1 point in his last 8 games. Morgan Frost doing a little better. He scored today against Vancouver. He had an assist a couple games ago against Seattle. So I guess I would definitely take Morgan Frost. And also Frost is getting some top power play deployment, unlike James Van Riemsdyk recently. I don't know. It looks like Tortorella's switching things around around every now and then. But yeah, I guess you'd go for one of those guys. Again, this is Monday, Tuesday. Stream in one of those Konechny line mates, and then you could always swap them out. Maybe you don't even wait till Friday because you could probably fit like a Wednesday, Thursday person. Like, do anything's playing Wednesday, Thursday this week? I guess only Calgary. I already told you I like those Calgary guys, so you'll probably want to just get that person for Monday. Anyways, okay, so then we have Pittsburgh Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Here's the thing with Pittsburgh. At this point, maybe you're actually going to be going for like Brian Rust, who's going to be dropped by a frustrated manager who's finally decided to give up on Brian Rust. And I'm not saying that person is wrong, but then again, if you could get him on Thursday and get him for Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, even though Rust is pointless in 4 games, he's still playing with Malkin, and he always could get back on the top power play. I'm not going to bank on it at this point, but I think he's a pretty good, at least for a streamer, if not a hold anymore. Brian and I will talk about him on the Mega Show for sure, because he's, once again, cold, unfortunately, but I think he's probably the streamer you're looking at, which normally it's not the kind of player I'm going to be talking about on this show because he's still rostered in a lot of leagues. Rust is rostered in 51% of leagues, but I could see that number going down after another pointless game today. Jason Zucker's also like super ice cold. Definitely not someone I'm interested in long term, but could be a good streamer. Also on that line with Malkin, who did score 2 goals today. But unfortunately, neither of these guys got any points. Tampa Bay, they play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. We know the drill, right? Go for like a Killorn, go for a Sorelli. They're pretty decent streamers. And then you move on after that. And then finally, we have the Washington Capitals playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So normally that would be not too exciting of a schedule. But again, got to check and see. Maybe you'll be able to actually fit all these Washington games in. Ovechkin, we don't know, I guess, if he's going to be back in time. In the meantime, makes it pretty tricky to know who's actually of value. Washington just had a pretty rough loss against Carolina. The lines were like, what is even the top line? Kuznetsov, Wilson, and Milano, or Backstrom, Johansson, and Connor Sherry. I need like my barometer of Alex Ovechkin there to tell me what's the top line. Oshie, Mantha, Strome. So I don't know, but these are all players that could be good. Like all 9 of these players I just mentioned could get you a point. So I guess, and then you could go for a Dmitry Orlov on defense, or maybe even Eric Gustafsson if he's been dropped by a frustrated manager because he's really cooled down. He did have that 3-assist game against Florida though, so maybe he got re-added after that. But so it's the typical Washington guys that you'll want to go for. I guess if you want me to tell you who specifically is hot right now on Washington, TJ Oshie did have 2 assists versus Florida, and he had a goal versus Carolina. No points today in the 4-1 loss to Carolina, which makes sense. Not that many people got points when your team only scores 1 goal. In fact, the goal was scored by, you can tell I'm stalling because I'm bringing it up right now. Tom Wilson scored the goal, assisted by Sonny Milano. So I guess if you're going by the last 1 game, Sonny Milano is probably the streamer that you'd be interested in. And he's maybe not a bad choice because of the line that he's on. Like I said, it's Milano playing with Wilson and Kuznetsov. You could definitely call that the top line. I wouldn't argue with you there. I guess we could look at the top power play in this game was Backstrom, Oshie, Johansson, and Dylan Strome. So I think Oshie would be my number 1 streamer on this team of players who are rostered in not too many leagues, which is most of them, right? It's just Kuznetsov, John Carlson, Alex Ovechkin, who are over 50%. Surprising. Usually Washington guys are tough to get if they're playing with Ovechkin, but I guess not so much this year. Right now, no one's playing with Ovechkin. Okay, so that's it for all of the 4 games played teams. So those are your best schedules of the week. Quickly looking at the worst schedules of the week. Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, and Florida all play 2 times. Of these teams, at least, like Arizona doesn't play on Saturday. Colorado, though, does play Friday, Saturday. They don't play all the way until Friday and Saturday. Though, don't forget what I said in the playoff preview. Colorado has good schedules, so definitely don't go and drop a Lehkonen or a Nichushkin who have started to heat up again. Just hold and suck it up. Maybe like you're looking at like a JT Compher and wondering if you should hold Compher. He just had a good game today against St. Louis. So maybe you could drop him. Obviously, if you need to win this week, then you can drop JT Compher, but he was playing on a line with Rantanen and Evan Rodriguez. So if you're playing with Rantanen, it could be good. So I don't know. If you think you're going to make the playoffs, I'd rather even just hold. Evan Rodriguez is, I guess, another guy who is like could be good for the playoffs. He's been taking a lot of shots lately, though. Actually, in these last couple of games, his shots have started to disappear. So Colorado bad schedule this week, right? So like I said, maybe, and then it's going to be a real tough decision if you have like a Sam Girard. He's been so hot lately. I feel like if Girard's in free agency, he's someone you just kind of wait and hope you can get him like on Friday and get the Friday, Saturday. Girard and Byram both like lower percent rostered defensemen who are looking good right now in Colorado. But you'll have to wait a few days before you could actually get any games from them. So anyways, did I go through all the teams? Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, and Florida are the teams that only play 2 times. So yeah, you can just go and look and consider dropping your worst players from those teams. Dallas hasn't been scoring many goals lately. Must be frustrating. Like at this point, I think it's just that top line, and maybe you can let everyone else go. Well, and obviously Heiskanen. But maybe if you're holding like a Jamie Benn, you consider dropping him. He's actually been pretty decent lately, 3 goals in his last 5 games. Obviously, it really helps that he's on that top power play, though actually these goals didn't even come on the power play I'm seeing. But yeah, with Dallas not scoring much and now with a bad schedule coming up, maybe you drop, I don't know, it'd be tough to drop him. He's having a good season. But yeah, maybe, okay, well, Tyler Seguin at least you could definitely drop. Pointless in his last 4 games, not on the top power play, and now Dallas with a bad schedule. I think that's a good sign that if you're still holding on to Seguin, you could probably let him go. Okay, so let me end this show. I've given you the best and worst schedules for next week. I want to end with a quick look at the potential Sunday saviors for anyone in a close matchup who's listening to this and hoping to make that one killer ad to win that week for them. So yeah, there's a bunch of games coming on this day, Sunday, February 19th. Predators at the Wild, Blues at the Sens, Oilers at the Avalanche, Leafs at Chicago, Jets at the Devils, and Blue Jackets versus Arizona Coyotes. So yeah, as I've mentioned, a lot of teams there. So let me just kind of take a look at some players that I may be interested in recommending to you. Let's look at, in Arizona, Juuso Välimäki continues to play on the top power play. Gostisbehere could be back soon, but as of now, it's still been Välimäki getting that top power play time. And, he hasn't been as exciting this week as, we were hoping for on Sunday's show, but he did get an assist today against LA. So he's someone who, I'm throwing out there as, generally if you're going to stream someone, you probably want someone with the best deployment, right? Andre Palat is another guy who might be available. I don't know. He's actually rostered in quite a few leagues. He's actually not even in such a great spot on New Jersey. He's been bumped from the top 2 lines, but he has been playing on the top power play. So if you're looking for a power play option, maybe you go Palat, though maybe like a Sharon Govich playing with Jack Hughes is a better option for you. So yeah, actually I think I'll go Sharon Govich over Palat, just because if you're playing at even strength with Hughes, you get more, the more time with Hughes, the better, right? Barbashev on St. Louis with all the injuries there, like Buchnevich got injured today, and also obviously now Ryan O'Reilly's gone, Tarasenko's gone. Barbashev might be getting some more power play time, so that could be a good opportunity against the Sens, who are going to be playing like a Sogard, like a goalie without too much experience. When talking about next week's schedules, I mentioned how Colorado doesn't have a great schedule, so this is maybe not someone you're going to want to hold after Sunday, but Sam Girard is on a really nice hot streak, so another defenseman I'll throw out at you that it's hard not to want him. By the way, back to Arizona, Barrett Hayton is playing on that line still with Keller and Schmaltz. Hayton, another assist today and 5 shots. So if you can get him, he'll be a really nice potential Sunday savior for you. Back to Colorado, you got JT Compher, who, like I said, is playing with Rantanen. And so if you're playing with Rantanen, you definitely have a chance to get a point. Over in Nashville, I don't think I mentioned them yet. And so the Predators, like I said, play the Wild. And Philip Tomasino is back up with the big club, which is fun. He had a good season last year. He finally got an assist in today's game against Florida in the 7-3 win. I guess he would have wanted more in such a big win. But yeah, 3 shots. 4 shots in the previous game. So I can see Tomasino doing something, or I guess you can go with like Novak, who actually got the 2 goals today. But I think Tomasino is on a better line, so he's probably the one that I would go with predicting today. By the way, Brian Johansson over on Nashville also, he obviously is not the player he once was, but he did have a goal and an assist today against Florida, so maybe he can keep that going. So those are some potential saviors that you can go for to help you win your matchup this week. Good luck to everyone. Hopefully you don't need the savior, because I already gave you some good picks last week that you were able to stream in, and so that your team was able to take you to a championship. So now you can just focus on winning your next matchup, hopefully getting into your fantasy playoffs, hopefully getting yourself all lined up for a nice championship run. So hope you enjoyed this show and you found it valuable. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have for me over on the Keeping Karlsson Discord. If you're a patron, if you're not a patron, come hang out with us. You're by the end of the season, right? So you just like sign up now, join for a month or so, see how you like it. It's like a little preview for you for next year. And so it's keepingkarlsson.com/patron. If you're not a patron, hit me up on Twitter at Keeping Carlson. Yeah, would love to hear what you think of this show. Obviously, this is still kind of a new concept thing, so open to any ideas of ways I could improve this thing. Aside from that, make sure you're subscribed to the Keeping Carlson podcast feed, because you're going to get a ton more shows with all the advice and suggestions you need to be successful, including a mega show with Brian and I that we'll be recording in less than 24 hours. That's always a blast. Love getting to chat with Brian and just go over everything going on in the league. I think we're going to have a really fun one tomorrow. And then we're going to be back with Lewis and Shams and Jeremy for another week of short shifts. Just a quick 20 to 30 minute hit of the latest news going on in between those mega shows. So thanks again for listening. Like I said, subscribe to get everything that we're putting out there. And until I talk to you next time, good luck maximizing those matchups. Bye.